topics in precious metals, currency, and current events. And from Bitcoin to banksters, this is the Wise Wolf Gold and Crypto Show. Now, here are your hosts, Tony Arterburn and Kenzie.
I'm not doing it.
I was like, it's going to be this week. Almost did it, folks. Well, we'll know it's a special day when Kenzie decides to jump in after the gunshot, which is her cue. Welcome to the Wise Wolf Gold and Crypto Show. I am one of your hosts. I'm Tony Arterburn. I'm joined by the slayer of normalcy bias, the researcher without peer, Kenzie of Fringe News. She's here with me. Welcome to your show, Kenzie.
Thanks.
Well, I never know. You know, it's funny. Whenever I introduce you, it's always like a 1 to 2 word response, like, okay.
I'm an awkward person. I think anybody that's listened long enough, you know.
I don't think it's awkward. I just never know what to expect from you. And you know, sometimes Kenzie and I, we talk off air as friends do, and she fills me in on all her research. And, you know, if there's a news item that comes up, and she's a lot more chatty. Depends on the day. I never know. So
I will admit, I'm insanely tired today. I don't know why. I think I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed, and it's one of those days.
Believe me, I understand. I had one of my listeners, our listeners, came in the shop today for the first time to meet me, and they said I look extremely tired. And I thought, well, I don't really feel tired. I mean,
what?
It's like that Van Halen song, you know, I don't feel tardy. I don't feel tired. I mean, I did America Unplugged this morning. I worked out. I got a decent amount of sleep. But maybe it's because my soul is tired. Maybe it's spiritual. I have no idea. But well, I can understand. So you want us to jump into some news? The clown world economic order is in full swing. And we talked about today on America Unplugged, we talked about the rising price of eggs. Have you seen this? I'll throw this your way before we hit some of your wonderful research and articles. But egg prices sky high as breakfast inflation pressures American households. And this is just another aspect of, you know, when they locked things down, when it did the controlled demolition of small business. And again, I think I happen to think that this is on purpose, but the driving prices everywhere. And this is what I said off air with Billy Ray Valentine and Don Jeffries. I said, look, the prices on everything are going up except where they should be.
Yeah.
And that is the weird part of where we are. So I wanted to throw that out there first. We're seeing rising prices everywhere, except for the places that you would expect. The monetary metals prices are subject to, manipulation like we've never seen before. And then this group think about, if the Fed raises its basis points, it's over for gold. I don't know. What is your takeaway from all of this, Kenzie, as we step into your research?
Oh God. Well, I talked to you a lot this week, so you know my brain has kind of been. Maybe that's why I'm exhausted. Is I've been thinking these scenarios through a little too hard, and we're really in. I know we've said it since we've started the show. I like to just say that we're in unknown waters. You know, we haven't traveled here before, and we are. That's still where we.
You cut out a little bit, but I know. Did we get you back? Your connection lost.
Am I back?
Bit. Yeah,
I'm
you lagged.
So sorry.
It's okay.
It's
like 180 degrees at your house, I think.
It is
melting your solar panels.
It's actually nice today because it's like 98.
Oh, I know.
Nice.
Yeah, I know. It's same thing in my homestead. It's been hot, so
yeah.
You and I have discussed that, but yeah, I'm with you. I mean, nothing's really making sense, and
no.
I again, you know, you mentioned, you sent me an article, that link about 2023 being the year from hell based off of the Socrates computer system, which we'll talk about today. But I do think that we're in some sort of a lull. Like this is
Mhm.
kind of the eye of the hurricane, eye of the storm, and
Mhm.
I've made this prediction before, but it seems like this is this weird transition point where we can see, you and I can see all these trouble points on the
Mhm.
horizon for economic pitfalls,
Yes.
but they're not quite here yet. So it's like, why, things are still functioning. So I'm not sure
And,
exactly,
like, by saying that, I'm not giving financial advice here or life advice here, but if the cost of something that you have needed goes down enough for you to go, "Wow, that's way lower," whether it be gas, beef, chicken, wood materials, whatever it is out there, gold, silver, a crypto you've been eyeballing, I don't care what it is. If you think that that's where your money needs to go because it's gonna help you in the future, I would say put it there. Because this lull period that you're talking about, I wonder if we will see, like, a quick little decrease in prices, kinda like we should expect beef prices to come down quite a bit after the record-breaking auctions that have been happening. But think about how long it's gonna take to replace those cows. Like, I'm already planning for that. If I see beef at a certain price, that might even mean that I'm buying beef that isn't my favorite. I don't care. I have a freezer. I can put it in there. Chicken, pork, anything. Thinking of that kind of stuff.
well, notice too is we're being conditioned. You if you wanted lower gasoline prices, if you were president, then you could put the American people to work. You could open up drilling. Instead of flying to Saudi Arabia, you could fly to Tulsa.
Yeah.
But they don't want lower gas prices. We're being conditioned to go into an electric deal or nothing, which, Pete Buttigieg was getting cross-examined this last week by Thomas Massey in Congress. It's like, if you plug in these electric cars, it's like 25 refrigerators added to every household, but you haven't done anything to improve the grid. So we want high gas prices to change your behavior, make you buy an electric car or stop
Mhm.
driving. This is a conditioning thing. The
Yeah.
same, and again, but they have no plans to have any infrastructure for those things. And then two, you see this. I mean, look, we talk about the rising prices of food everywhere. I mean, everybody knows you go to the grocery store, you hand over $200, and it's not the same thing as it was 2 years ago. It's not even
No.
close. And everything, but again, what do they do at the same time? They say, well, also we have bugs. There's bugs are tasty. You get Nicole Kidman and all these other Hollywood types. No, no, you don't need that. You don't need that pot roast. What you need is some crickets. This is a conditioning thing, and they're taking and it's amazing to me that things have lasted as long as they have. Everything about where we are, when I look at the price of metals, and you got a story that I'm really interested in because I think this may be one of those catalysts to shake things up. We'll talk about finally a silver story.
Finally.
But no, I think we're being conditioned, and I think that nothing truly makes sense. And I'm watching what's happening in the crypto market, and I think, gosh, we're losing like an exchange a day based off of the metrics that we were looking at last week. About every business day, and another exchange goes out of business, which is terrible. Metals, silver is in the tank.
Yep.
Just as far as how much purchasing power, because again, I tell people the reason that you're paying more for gasoline or food or whatever is not so much that those things went up. There is some aspect of supply chain disruption, because when they shut the economy down, when Trump locked everybody down in the beginning of 2020, there was a lot of talk. Oh, well, we can just shift things over here. No, there's an intricate, all these pieces of the economy, everything. I mean, it's like that book, I Pencil. There's there's so many different aspects to getting a market or a product to market. And if you're a bureaucrat or a lawyer, or just, somebody who, especially if you're in public office, you have no idea how things are made, or how to get anything, produced. You just take, right? You're just a leech in so many ways. And so they didn't understand that, but they shut the economy down, and yeah, there was massive disruptions. We're still seeing that play out. So the question is what happened what happened to real value? I don't think we've seen that yet, because you have massive losses in purchasing power, but the places where you should have increases, you don't see them.
Mhm.
That's just my 2 cents to open up the show. And then let's talk about this story. And you mentioned me on Twitter. I'll pull up your Twitter screen here. By the way, if you want to find Kenzie, she's at Wise Wolf Gold on Twitter. And I do not tell her what to say. She has total autonomy over the Twitter, and for good or ill. And we're taking that forward. So, you've been waiting for silver news, and now you've got it. As Kenzie talks to me, at Miles Franklin Company allegedly has sold 900,000 silver eagles. Is that 50 million?
That's 50 million. So, and he couldn't source all of the silver eagles. Guys, don't think that she was paying crazy amounts of money for these silver eagles. He actually had to go and find her some junk silver, which was really hard to get all the junk silver together, and gold. So gold and silver and junk silver made up that $50 million.
They had to literally shop, probably a dozen different exchanges and different.
Yeah, he
dealers
only
and
had, I think that in the video, you could play the video if you wanted to. He only had 80,000, I think, on hand.
Let me see if I can pull up the
To
video.
volume.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, there it is. Oh, my computer's doing this thing. Wherever we run the show in the
But
afternoon.
I could find, we had 90,000 in stock. I had to find over 800,000. I called every distributor and took allocations into August. She bought over 1 million ounces of silver. The rest of it comprised of junk silver. Junk silver is becoming as rare as hen's teeth. The rest went into gold. And she claims this is the first of several up to $1 billion that she wants to place. She's a billionaire. Now, if you would have asked me any time in my career, someone says you're going to get a $50 million order, I'm like, yeah, right, whatever. But it happened. It's real. And I think that's emblematic of big money for the very, very first time in my career, waking up.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
$50 million. Oh, I'd like one of those.
When we have we got a good bit of people in here for anybody. Now, I did say allegedly he sold this silver, but I'm going to take it as truth, because I don't think that Miles Franklin would want to put his reputation on the line. I don't think that Chris over at I think it's Arcadia Economics, Scottsdale Mint sharing it out. We're talking about very big people within the silver community, guys. And that's their reputation on the line. And to throw it out there, like he mentioned several times, she plans on buying up to $1 billion worth. There's only 3 women in all of Texas that are billionaires, 2 of which actually kind of technically have a shared net worth. The only one that actually has enough to where she could just dispose of $1 billion and it's no issue would be Alice Walton.
I think you were saying Alice Walton.
Alice Walton, yeah.
And again, if this is any sort of kick in a trend towards this direction, this is going to be massive, because a little known fact in the real world, silver's hard to find.
Yeah.
Nobody wants to sell at this price. I mean, I'm getting some people selling me silver, but not like when it's in the, mid 20s to going up to 30, and people slow down on selling and the demand goes up. But again, you have the paper contracts and all the fake stuff in JP Morgan and all these central banksters, and they're just driving it down, selling off nothing. And people are like, oh, I'll just buy some SLV. Meanwhile, the real world it's really frustrating to watch, because I know at a certain point, if it's enough, these billionaire types or multimillionaires get in, and they see, the thing about billionaires is they're so tied to the system. This is what I've noticed about billionaires. They need the system. The system needs them. It's symbiotic, like the stocks and all the rest. And then to a certain level, then they stop doing that and they buy, like central banks and governments buy gold. They don't buy stocks. They don't buy paper. They buy real physical assets, right? But the billionaires usually buy fake things. They buy stocks. They play around with it. They have their teams of people working on stuff, trading stuff, like the Mitt Romneys of the world with the vulture capitalism, where they'll take something like with Bain Capital and break it up and then, sell it off. basically moving things around, making a profit. I'm putting this in quotations, but not really making anything. This deal, if people in the upper stratosphere of wealth start buying major orders of gold or silver, it's going to break it's going to cause a massive.
The little guy won't be able to get his hands on it. I mean, you heard that he's having to have allocations set up until August because of how large her order was. That's an IOU slip for her, guys. And that allocation means the moment that they can get it in, they can get it to her. But it's a matter of they have to play catch up because that order was so large, which therefore would make it harder for somebody like you or I to be able to go and place our order because, my little $50 worth of something is nothing compared to her 50 million.
Right. Like I use Dylan Gage in Dallas, and I'm able to call and lock in a trade. They've never refused my amount. But I mean, if you started getting into these numbers, I think they would put me in some kind of timeout and have a team of folks call me and say, well, what are you doing? They'd want to know who this person is. I think, I could get up to hundreds of thousands, no problem. You start getting into the $1 million territory, it's a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that would just do. I mean, this is one order too, and the guy had to go and call around. I would have to do the same thing if somebody called me and they wanted $1 million worth of stuff. It would take me a little bit. I'd have to work a little bit to make sure that everything got filled. Yeah, just super interesting to see. I mean, I'm glad this is going on in some ways, and in other ways, I'm like, okay, people really need to be prepared for when it does move, and it's not going to be. There'll be paper. And then there'll be the real. I was on a show earlier this week. It's called Conspiracy or Just a Coincidence. It's Kojak with Jack Allen. Really great show. And we had some talk about gold and silver and the monetary system. And I was talking about, he asked me about the Hunt brothers. And I said, they've been cast in history as a criminal. They drove the price of silver up. I said, yeah, but they were telling people to buy silver too. They were also saying you get silver. And the difference is in the big silver players today is they don't want you to have it because they want to continue to accumulate. I think they're still in the accumulation phase, especially for the Green New Deal and the economics of solar and all that stuff. EVs.
Had I showed you the charts of the gold that like banks have gotten up and just is it Q1 or Q2 of 2022? I think this year we're just like you never see any gold on the books, and it has something to do with Basel III, and now just boom, skyrocketing craziness. I'll have to find that chart so we can have it for the next podcast. It takes a little technical digging, but I don't think I've sent that over to you yet. It's really interesting to see.
I'd love to see it. And this time next year, we won't be talking. I think we'll be talking about scarcity. This time next year, or maybe 24 months, we'll be talking about how much scarcity there is. And I don't know when that's going to cause a shift, but it's sooner than later. They can't do this forever. They can't be in the accumulation phase forever. All right, let's go to some more of your notes here. Do you want to talk about 2023, the year from hell, Mark? I still got you, Kens?
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Let's talk about I covered this yesterday on the Arterburn radio transmission, and I got in trouble because Kenzie found out I covered it.
I was like, darn it.
But it's worth it. We can take it into another show. It's fine. I mean, we can cover it again because it is an important. I think this analyst, Martin Armstrong, he's been around for decades. This came out on Zero Hedge. It's from USAWatchdog.com. It's 2023 will be the year from hell. Martin Armstrong warns of inflation-driven civil unrest. And he has a computer program called the Socrates program, and it's predicting 2023 will be the year from hell. Armstrong explains, our computer is predicting a war cycle that hits in 2023, but this is also civil unrest. You're looking at a revolution because of inflation. Our projection on oil is it is going to go up dramatically in 2023. It's going to be the same thing, I think, for gasoline prices. This is just not over yet. The euro looks like death warmed over.
Yeah, and that's the crazy part, right? Because Socrates predicted quite a while back that the euro would die, the dollar would be stronger. And here's the thing. I'm with using Socrates and I'm not. And I just want to give people my explanation for this because a lot of people might be hearing about it for the first time. I love the idea of this software. Do not place a red nail or pin tab on the dates that this software gives you. Um, Sometimes it is pinpoint right on. Sometimes it's going to take 2 or 3 years. Okay. But it seems as though all the predictions that the computer program has made do come to be, just not at the same time. So I just wanted to point this out because I think that it's worth looking at. Just don't put all your eggs in this one basket as far as
Well, of
timing
course.
goes.
Yeah. And this is,
Um,
I will remind the audience, if they didn't hear me on the Wise Wolf show, on my radio show, I talked about this a couple of months ago about how this same Martin Armstrong was talking about how the West, and he does mention this too, the West with the fiat currency first world system, they need war.
mhm.
They need the cover of war to start over, to get rid of their debts, to bring in the central bank digital currencies. And he was saying, buy 2 years worth of storable food. This is Martin, Wall Street analyst, not really talking about stocks per se, but about strategy, about how to weather the storm that's coming. Because I don't really care who. I mean, I don't see how you can look at these variables and come to the conclusion that we're going to be okay, or that we're not going
Yeah,
to
I don't
experience.
either.
I mean, how does a Jim Cramer like? Where do they find these people? I'm like, everything is red flags and alarm bells going off, and you're telling me about this is the bottom of the bear market. I'm like, this is the beginning, and I don't want that. I hope I'm wrong, because anytime, you and I've covered this in the movie The Big Short.
Mhm.
Brad Pitt's character says, "Don't laugh. You don't celebrate. I mean, when there's a certain amount of downturn in the economy, that means people die.
Yeah.
This is serious business." And that's why I get mad at the powers that be, because instead of turning things on, we're being conditioned to accept poverty, to accept eating the bugs, to accept all this other stuff. And I mean, I don't think it's going to go well for them. I don't think that's going to play out. But they certainly will use every trick up their sleeve. And one thing that is consistent among the elites, using war as a cover for all sorts of things. I mean, World Wars I and II, that got us the complete totalitarian surveillance master state, from
Yeah.
communism, Nazism, Tojo's Japan, and now, we've got our 1984 overlords here in the West. Yeah, Armstrong, he talks about how the sanctions are hurting Europe more than they are hurting Russia. This is a shot in the lung. They can't even breathe at this stage. Yes, and this is the self-inflicted wounds again, are some things that we're all seeing from Europe, and that's what makes this even scarier.
Yeah. I think for all of us, because whenever you really put all the other politics aside and you just see what's happening, like you just said, we can't go to the point of hurting ourselves, but all of our leading nations are putting us in that position. So we feel the brute force of this, right? The little guy, especially. And I believe that continues. And as far as like the dollar, going up, um, it is stronger, and not in a sense of like, me and Tony are joking today. Like, it is theoretically stronger, no matter how gross that sounds. But it's not strong enough to help you with the inflation that you're seeing at home. But it is so strong that it is really hurting exports and businesses in other countries because everything is handled in dollars. All the debts are done in dollars. So it's taking more for them to be able to repay those debts or to continue business going as normal. Therefore, it's going to hurt you more in the long run because the shortages will continue. The workers are not there. If our dollar is so strong that we're hurting business overseas, who the heck is going to make all the useless products that you love to buy, or
Right.
the stuff that you really need to make that laptop work, to make your car work, to make anything in your everyday life and what you do at work? Like, it's going to hurt us pretty bad. And there's the case, Tony, that the dollar gets stronger from here, which does put gold in this really interesting position because, hey, if you're somebody where you have gotten a raise or you're not super struggling because of this inflation, or even if you are, easier to get gold and silver if your dollar is so strong, right? And they keep knocking it down and want to play that game, but people aren't going to look there, right? A lot of people want to keep the blindfolds on, and this can switch so quickly.
Oh yeah.
It's an avalanche. Once this starts to go, I mean, think about playing Jenga with a toddler. That's what we're doing right now. It's the toddler's turn.
It just takes one little push
Yeah.
in history, one little event, something, a black swan, something they didn't see coming.
Yeah.
They can do all these. They can war game all they want. They can do all the planning that they want. There's an old saying that man plans and God laughs.
Yeah.
I mean, I plan. We all set goals. You do this. Does it ever work out exactly the way you thought it was going to? I mean, do you?
Nothing
No.
ever does.
No.
No.
I don't care how smart you are. I mean, you're not going to be able to account for everything. There's always a variable, and there's so many variables here with the war deal, and that's what frightens me because I see what they're doing. I just saw yesterday that Ukraine and Russia signed some sort of agreement on grain and like supply, and in the middle of all this, and I think, wow, that is an interesting tale as well.
Isn't it? Wow.
It's because I don't think, I mean, this is kind of off subject, but not really. Is Russia really at war with Ukraine, or is it at war with us? And Ukraine just happened to be in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Right. And we didn't even discuss this yet, but we need to, and in conjunction with this article, Ukraine was asked by the West to give up its gold. Did anybody else notice that?
Yeah.
I mean, their gold reserve. So the same governments that are giving Ukraine billions in fiat currency also said, "Hey, sell your gold reserves."
Do you think that they'll do that here when we do our systematic switch? Do you think
Anything's
that they'll do it
possible.
again?
Well, they wanted it. So the banksters wanted the gold in 1933.
Yeah.
You know, they got it. FDR signed the executive order. Americans dutifully gave them, the $20 gold piece, which is worth, close to $2,000 a day for $20.
Yeah.
And that's Federal Reserve note. And then the FDR raised the gold price. That gold went to Switzerland and Basel to the Bank of International Settlements. That's just documented history. The Feds wanted the gold. They got the gold. They don't want the paper. That's why I was saying earlier, do central banks buy stocks? Do they have a hedge fund? No, they buy gold, right? They buy real physical. That's what they want. The golden rule. He who has the gold makes the rules, right?
Mhm.
So no, I just, again, that's a little, we should, maybe we'll have more news on that next week, but yeah, Ukraine has been asked multiple times to sell off its gold reserves by the same people who are giving it fiat currency. That should tell you a lot.
Yeah.
Right? Wouldn't they say, "Oh no, keep your gold. We'll keep you whole." No. And they want that. And so that's interesting. And a lot of this too with the gold price, can't prove it, but Russia taking gold for oil, selling it on the open market. I mean, if gold went to $2,500 or $3,000 an ounce, like had been predicted 2 years ago by some of the major banks, if it went that, wouldn't that help them with their reserves? Wouldn't that put them over the top? So it must be they must be working around the clock to keep this going. like you guys overshot silver a little bit. Sorry about that. I mean, we were just trying to get it down to 25. Didn't know we were going to get it into the teens. All right. Yeah, this is something Armstrong says. We're talking about now the dollar is going up and you see bank runs. Armstrong says not only is the euro dramatically declining, the euro bonds are being shunned by U.S. banks. This is another bad financial sign for the EU. This is why they are pushing for war. They think they can create a new monetary system, and to do so, they need war. I can't disagree with any of these statements. The new monetary, they're going to bail themselves out in the fog of war, in the aftermath of it, if they get that. Right, if they're able to pull the wool over people's eyes, if they're able to propagandize enough, which doesn't seem to be too hard anymore. I wish I was wrong. It doesn't seem. It seems like it's a little. You can phone it in now.
Yeah.
You just have to work hard. Used to have the conspiracies used to be really complicated. Now we just do it in your face.
It is very in your face. That's purposeful though.
Yeah,
So
part of the deal, I think. Yeah, therefore we get another Bretton Woods. You can redesign all the currencies, and when you do that, you wipe out all the debt. This is the agenda. So
yeah.
check out that article, folks.
Now, Tony, whenever they say, hey, whenever we do this, it wipes out all of this debt. Is it going to wipe out the personal little guy's debt
No,
or just the big government debt, giant corporations and giant banking?
no. The Great Reset is not going to be good to you. It's not going to help you out. Yeah. We've already got, my problem is my social credit score, and now your social credit score, because you know me, is going to be in the tank. Sorry about that. Your central bank
It's
digital
bad.
currency. Yeah, sorry about that. All right, let's talk about some cryptocurrency and, or what's going on with crypto. Because I'm still really optimistic about crypto, folks, but not every cryptocurrency is going to make it through what we're about to experience and what we are experiencing. This is Cointelegraph.com. SEC listing 9 tokens as securities in insider trading case could have broad implications.
Yeah,
tell me
so
what's going
they
on here.
listing 9 of I think that there could be up to 25 that end up being listed as securities, but right now it's just 9 of them. So I just wanted to go through them in case you hold them or in case you care. So there's Power Ledger, Chromatica. I don't even know what some of these are. DFX Finance, AMP, Rally, Rari Governance Token, Devira DAO, and LCX and XYO. I don't know what the last 2 are for sure. Heard of some of these, but not all of them. And this is all coming just because of the quote unquote, I guess, insider trading. I think that some guys over at Coinbase knew that, like, hey, we're going to get these onto the platform and decided like pumping them beforehand. And I don't even know if they ever like decided to sell them. But yeah, just some goofy stuff that kind of upsets you. But then at the end of the day, I have to ask myself, like, why is it okay for Congress to do this like every day? Why is that acceptable and this is not? What makes no sense.
Well, it does if you understand we're a banana republic at this point. The corruption is next level. But yeah, I mean, there's rules for thee and not rules for me. I think so. One of those deals from the top down. Yeah, what is it? Nancy Pelosi's husband like traded a bunch of stock right before she implemented some new deal. And was it tech she was working? I can't remember.
Oh yeah. And she's like going over to, where is it? Like over into Taiwan and doing the whole chip thing. And we're about to propose some bills to be making all these chips over here. And I don't know. There's actually places where you can go and watch Nancy Pelosi's trades like on the daily.
Oh, yeah.
You can see what she's buying or selling.
Yeah. Well, I think there's going to be there's so much more attack on this is going to be symptomatic and systematic of them wanting a central bank digital currency.
Yeah.
This is what we're going to have to watch. I think one of the folks in the chat was talking about how Pirate Chain and R was about 55 cents. I'll have to check that. But a lot of the privacy coins, Monero, are some of these other things. I think that will be a good component to look at. Will the privacy coins survive the crypto winter? I think some of them will. Don't know for sure. Don't know what their price will be. I mean, I was buying R. I bought R in at like 9 something, 4 something, 2 something. It's just it followed a lot of these collapses of exchanges, and it doesn't mean that it's going to sit there forever. But no, I mean, a lot of these coins and a lot of the broader crypto markets under attack. Not only by and look, a lot of it's greed. A lot of the exchanges and stupidity and there's an old saying in Texas about I heard from my dad when I was little about pigs get fat and hogs get slaughtered.
Yeah.
When you become a hog, you get slaughtered. And so it's okay to make a little bit and be a pig, but you start become a hog. And then I think that's, a lot of it was overvalued and it's healthy to have a reset or a a pullback and to cull some of the non-essential, not essential, using those words,
Mhm.
the non-essential investments, because some of them are not essential, right? Some of them don't serve a purpose. But yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. Good find there. We'll definitely put that
Yeah.
in the show notes
You
as
know
well.
what we didn't have pulled up was Tesla selling 75% of their Bitcoin. I forgot to send that over.
I did not know
Um,
that.
yeah.
Tesla. Okay.
Was did we tweet about let me go check our Twitter real quick. I might have put up a tweet about that. If it's not on ours, then it's on my personal. Um,
I didn't see that. Is he going to sell his Dogecoin too?
I don't know. I do not know. Oh no, where did I put that? Let me just Google it. I'll freaking Google.
Yeah, that was weird. Elon, he's now like a darling to a lot of conservatives for whatever reason. And he was talking. I remember we were doing this show a year or so ago, 5 months ago, and I was I was talking about how ridiculous he was, saying, I'm not going to take Bitcoin anymore. It's not environmentally friendly," even though he'd been promoting it.
And he promised you he would hold it.
Right. Then he promised you. Then I'm going to take Dogecoin, and Dogecoin's the future. And I go, Dogecoin? Why? Why is Dogecoin? Why not even some of the newer ones? Like, what's the deal there? Anyway, it's pretty bizarre.
Yeah, so Tesla dumped 75% of its
I
Bitcoin
see.
holdings a year after touting long-term potential. It's just not clean enough for the environment, Tony. It takes way too much power and whatever else. But as I know that you saw it on Twitter, so I don't know if it was on Wise Wolf or mine, but um, they were having a cash flow issue, and not like a real cash flow issue, but like as an investor, you would go, "Whoa, you don't have enough free cash flow. I don't like this." By selling that 75% of Bitcoin, it made the free cash flow look amazing, and it is much better. Another thing that could and should be brought up is if they held it for a year, I feel like that's long enough to take the loss on it.
Right.
So tax loss
Uh,
harvesting.
there's something to that. You and I were discussing that last week, and there
Mhm.
is something to this time frame of when people are looking for an event of some kind, like when something when we could see a crash or a downturn.
Mhm.
Look to the end of fiscal years, which is in October,
Mhm.
right? The fiscal year for corporations ends in October. Corporations, as Mitt Romney, corporations are people, my friend. They don't have the same years as us, though. They don't have the same kind of their corporate systems, and their calendars are different than ours, and they end in October. That's why maybe it was the October crash in 87, 1929, and it's all October. It's end of fiscal year. What do you think?
Hmm. Maybe.
I don't know,
Um,
something to it.
I
I
think he
tried.
definitely held it long enough to get the tax loss from it. So, that's more beneficial on these companies than for most people that don't know how to work the system because we don't have 100 lawyers and attorneys or whatever on standby. So,
Right. Trying to pull up this article and get it over here for you. For whatever reason, when we do the show on Saturdays, it just everything starts running extremely slow. I have no idea why. And it's weird because I do America Unplugged at 11. It's fine. Anyway, we got it up there. So this is the CNBC article. Tesla has dumped 75% of its Bitcoin holdings a year after touting long-term potential. Wow. After a huge rally in 2021, the digital currency has plunged in value, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. Well, I don't, I, I'm still thinking that Bitcoin has some room to grow. I mean, it's been holding at these support levels for a while. What do you think would not, what do you think would take Bitcoin out of this support level? You just think maybe more turmoil in the economy?
If it's not specifically within the economy, the turmoil that we were talking about with the exchanges, I was watching a segment yesterday on CNBC, and I think that they had Sam Bankman Floyd or Freud or whatever his name is, the FTX guy, where I'm like, Tony, how the heck is this young CEO, one of the youngest to hold like a crypto enterprise? Like, where is he getting all this money from? Because they are pouring, and he admitted we might take a hit on a lot of these exchanges. And he said, I'm willing to take that because with all of them, he is setting up deals where he's getting a stake in the company. He might even have complete ownership of the company by the time it's all said and done. So it does make sense. But if there's a kink that happens within FTX, then every exchange that has gotten a loan from them is under while FTX is going under. And the reason I did find out a lot of banking institutions do not want to touch these exchanges. This is why they have to loan money to each other between each other, right? They can't just go to the bank necessarily. They need outside investors, this FTX guy that is willing to go in and prop them up. But if there is a big enough kink to where it hurts FTX, that's pretty centralized as far as financing goes on these exchanges, and what happens after that could be really bad. Now, there's no signs that that's going to happen, but also if there were signs, would anybody show me? I don't
Interesting.
know.
Let's talk about your. This is your tweet from Wise Wolf Gold that tanks were protecting banks. This is happening in China with over 2 million views. It's a video showing tanks on the streets in China that are out to protect the banks. This is because the Henan branch of the Bank of China is declaring that people's savings in their branch are now investment products and can't be withdrawn. Preview to the good old US of A. What do you think?
I think so. If you want, you could go down and actually play the video footage. Just keep it on mute. But if people wanted to watch the whole video, it's One India News. So, but it's just crazy the long row of tanks that are there.
Let me see if I can make it work here.
It's buffering. It's trying.
It's trying. I got like super high speed internet at the office, but whatever reason, 3 p.m. Central Time, we start having slows. I'm not sure. Yeah. Let's see if we can
That
get
is
a little.
crazy.
Say don't play the volume or do play the volume. I could.
You can if you. Yeah, sure.
Oh, we'll see if I can even make it. It's it's rolling a little bit. We're trying, folks. Weird.
Oh well, that's okay. It's on the Twitter if you wanted to go and see it, and I left the link if you wanted to watch the entire segment from One India News. It's just crazy to see, and the idea that they're saying, "Hey, your money's no longer your money. This is like an investment now." I got to talking with Tony this week, and we've talked about this in the past, but it seems more logical now that we see this happening in China, right? So that's the concerning part. The other concerning part is all of the electronic banking that we do here in the United States now. We were talking about the internet only banks. You don't even have a real place that you can go to. And within these banks, you can do investings and savings and checking accounts, but they're really big on the investing side. And in their savings accounts, you tend to make a better percentage than you would, say, at my bank, where I told you, like, keeping money in my bank at 0.001%. I'm not making anything. It hurts me to keep it there. Whereas I'm not going to name anybody, but some of the other internet banks out there, you can make a decent percentage. And so it's people like that. They want to put their money there, but there's no physical location for you to go. It's all tied up. Everything going on in China with their banking section is because of some systematic updates, quote unquote. We don't know what those systematic updates are, and changing your savings to investments. But I can't get my investment back. That's a scam.
I don't know. I mean, everything seems to stem from China these days. I mean, it's like we just have to deal with whatever's coming. Their housing market is the doldrums.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, they got problems with them. I mean, I know Justin Trudeau loves the their basic dictatorship and how they're able to turn their economy around on a dime and all this stuff, but they're able to do that over the bodies of people. I mean, they're a totalitarian nightmare state. So that's one way to do it there, Justin. But yeah, I mean, it's going to spill over into here. I mean, it's just this is why. How can a responsible thinking financial analyst tell people that everything is going to be hunky dory? I just don't get that. I still can't get it. I mean, are you in on it? Are you profiting from people making poor judgment calls on sticking to normalcy by
I
it.
just hope they've really thought through what happens when all this comes down, because there are people that are touting that everything is fine and you should do this and that, and I'm like, this guy must not know medieval history and what people might do. And I'm not going to say anything else other than medieval history, because I could see some people getting really upset. And yeah, that's it. That's it.
I mean, I'm not even like we discussed last week, you know, it's like asking people about cash. People ask me, you
Mhm.
should have, yes, you should have cash. Absolutely. Cash should be part of your portfolio. You should have liquidity.
Liquidity, yes.
I'm in the gold and silver business.
Mhm.
You can buy gold and silver from me. That's who sponsors the show. Everybody knows that. I mean, and I don't want to run an infomercial. I'm not telling you to be a maximalist or something, or that you're gonna. If you just put it here, I had some
Yeah,
salesmen.
listen, guys, like we're not full-blown Peter Schiff, we're not full-blown Michael Saylor, and we're not full-blown Dave Ramsey. It's a little bit of everything, because that seems to be, in my opinion, the most responsible way to live. Full tilt one way or the other is really going to hurt you
Yeah, I mean, like you and I don't like debt most of the time,
most of the
but
time.
we'll use and leverage debt if we need to. Kind of like
Yeah.
Robert Kiyosaki talks about. And then I'm well aware that if you bought silver from me 2 years ago, or coming up on 2 years, at over 30, because that was more of an accurate market condition than now, you're probably going, what? You can't turn that in and turn it into fiat. Just hold as long as you can. I mean, that's the thing, is that we're in weird times. I mean, if you read history, you're like, oh, well, this is clearly we're going to go into hyperinflation. And then
Mhm.
it doesn't happen, because the Weimar Republic in Germany that went into hyperinflation, they didn't have the world's reserve currency. They didn't have a giant Ponzi scheme. They had a tiny one,
Mhm.
and then it didn't work anymore because they couldn't, inflate the bubble anymore. Our people can inflate the bubble. Now they got war and they can play around with all of that too. So, I mean, just staying nimble is really what I
Yeah.
wanted to
The
bring.
most risky thing that you could do is to do nothing. That is where the most risk is. If you're doing something and it's not going great, but you've thought things through, then you have the liquidity or the knowledge to shift patterns, right? You can
Right.
go, "Oh, okay, maybe I need to add this," or you find out where somewhere is lacking, but to just sit on your hands is absolutely dangerous. It'll swallow you up.
Yeah, doing something. And at least you do something, you can decide, oh, that wasn't a good idea. I'll try something else. I mean, you're doing something.
Oh, yeah.
You're in the arena. This is one of the tweets you wanted me to put out. We have a serious problem with a strong dollar. One, it's not strong enough to help with you with inflation. And two, it's so strong, it's dramatically hurting exports and businesses in other countries. Therefore, it will hurt you more in the long run. And we are discussing this on today's podcast.
We are.
As foretold on the tweet.
If I
On Wise Wolf Gold.
Yeah.
So give me your
So
thought.
well, I mean, I kinda wanted some of your thoughts on that, because those are my thoughts on, look, we make fun of the dollar a whole lot. And I'll still make fun of the dollar today, because I think that if you're making more of them, you need to be thinking, what do I need to do to protect myself and my family more? What buffer zone do I need? Because I'm not positive if it's still going to be a good idea to hold X amount of dollars a year from now. That could be a terrible idea. I'm terrified of keeping it in the bank. I'm terrified to have it at home and physical. Like, what do you need in this moment that it can go towards? And there's some things where there's a tiny bit of deflation, but inflationary scenarios are just that's taken over the market, and it's going to continue. Um, and your dollar being stronger right now isn't even helping you at home, because inflation is too hot. That's
Right.
it. Inflation's too hot. It doesn't even help you right now.
It's a weird place to be. Strong dollar and inflation at the exact same time.
That is so weird. That is backwards.
Right.
That's
Nothing.
your Bermuda
That's
Triangle.
my Bermuda Triangle economics. Yeah, that was almost a year ago. We were talking about that.
Yeah.
This doesn't make any sense. So, well, that's interesting. I'm glad you get some great tweets up. Go follow Kenzie.
I just want to thank everybody that's really engaging over there with it. I mean, even on that silver video, I forgot that Twitter did that, but I could see today over 400 views on the silver video for the millionaire lady or billionaire lady, and I was just blown away by that, guys. So thanks for sharing that out.
All right, last item of the day before we do some spot prices and do tell people where they can find us and all that good stuff. What's this interview with Gideon? What is this? There's a little bit of conspiracy.
I think that we'll discuss this a little bit here, but Tony, I think that we need to do this on one of your other podcasts.
Sure. Just do the
Because
highlights that won't get us thrown off of YouTube.
the highlights here is that your currency is going to literally change overnight from US dollars to USDRs, the digital dollars. And that's what they are calling it, is USDRs or something of the likes of that. Don't go and buy some crypto if it has that name. It's not related. This will be its own self-secluded system. This guy even says that XRP holders will be screwed, that it will have like a use case, but if you're not a top tier member of society, it won't even matter. So it's putting people into two classes, the haves and the have-nots, class C or class S. And most of us will fall under class C. So you're just a person that's not allowed to do much. It goes into the programming of money, universal basic income, how much you have, linking in with a you know what, to be safe on YouTube, I'm going to call it your personality score.
Oh,
And
yeah.
if you don't have a super favorable personality, you might not have as much in your bank account. So I would say that it's worth looking into, but take it with a grain of salt. Definitely could be a psyop, but there is nothing in there that I haven't thought about for my future. And there's 5 parts to this that people might want to keep up with.
Let's do a show Monday.
Let's do a show on this. And I'm not even sure if all 5 sections would be out by then. I just listened to part 2 today, Tony, and we need to go over this on a separate show because it's good.
Good. Let's shoot for Monday. See if we can get it done. We'll put one out on the
there.
radio transmission.
Yes, it's good. Y'all won't want to miss it. But yes, interview with Gideon if you wanted to go and read that for yourself. Again, don't put your full trust into it. I never like people, talk about white hat or this or that, but there's always a good bit of truth in something that might even be blown out of proportion, right? So
You never know. It's always worth discussing. Maybe there's a nugget of truth in it. Maybe we can get something out of there. It's worth knowing. All right. Spot prices real quick. You can always go to wisewolf.gold if you want to check current prices on gold. I said that last week and then we pulled it up and my little little price tickers weren't on there. Let's see if we can find them. Where'd they go? This is weird. Maybe because we're having issues with there they are. Okay. Gold 1,727 Luciferian bankster notes per troy ounce for the yellow metal, 1,727 Federal Reserve fiat dollars for a troy ounce of gold, and silver is $18.65. I think you may need to call your broker, Kinsey, tell him not put a hold on that yacht that you were going to buy and cashing out all that silver.
Wait, hold on. We went from I'm going to buy a Lambo to now I can buy a yacht. I'm talking to my broker about a yacht now.
I'm
moving up in this world quickly,
well,
guys.
You keep moving up. It's all the different trades. I think silver was going to be the deal that was going to put you over the top. She's buying all these yachts from, she's investing in yacht flipper. She's a yacht flipper now.
I'll buy Jeff Bezos' yacht during the Depression and just live the rest of my life on it.
I think that sounds like a good idea. Bitcoin, 22,293 Luciferian bankster notes, LBNs, make a entire Bitcoin. And we'll have I'll look for some interesting Bitcoin news. It's really just holding at that support level, which is good for a lot of people. I'd hate for it to tank, but Robert Kiyosaki and some others think it's got a ways to go.
Robert Kiyosaki is way low. If it does that, I'm shocked.
I just kept thinking it was a typo.
It has, but they never fixed it.
It was on several outlets, and I was like, do they mean 1,100? Anyway, I mean, he's got some good advisors too, so I don't know for sure. I don't know if they agree with him on that. It seems pretty catastrophic to me, but I think we're in unprecedented times. It could be a lot of catastrophe going on. There's probably not a whole lot of places to hide your wealth other than, again, I would say, look at precious metals, but get the most amount of metal for your dollar and hold for the long term, because it's heavily manipulated right now, ladies and gents. Well, Kenzie, tell people where they can find your work and what you do and when your next live stream is going to be. If you're still available. Are you, I still got you on the line?
Yeah. Okay. Now
Okay.
we're back
There
at Wise Wolf
you're
Gold.
back. Tell people with it.
All right. Wise Wolf Gold on Twitter and fringe_news on Twitter. News is with a Z at the end, guys. And hopefully America Unplugged Thursday nights. I should be okay. I should be good to go, Tony. So hopefully here soon we'll be doing Fringe News on America Unplugged.
I think so, and I hope so. And you're certainly welcome. Kenzie's an official member of America Unplugged, and she can do her show there on the America Unplugged channel on Rockfin anytime she wants. Thursday seems to be her day, but we'll see if we can put a show together here maybe Monday for to cover this Gideon. But I appreciate everybody who joined us. It's not, I would have gone over the chat, but literally all my screens are frozen, and I'm going to have to end the broadcast for today because I can't navigate it. I keep freezing up for whatever reason in this time frame for recordings. You guys take care, and remember, in a world fiat reality, the truth is solid gold. We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.